So I'd like to talk about another one of my adventures in New York City. I was up there, this was sometime in the 90s. I was up there filming a show at the Apollo. It was called Apollo Comedy Hour, which was much different from Showtime at the Apollo. It was strictly comics. And they also had special musical guests. I think at the time it was man, I can't think of the name of that band. The ones that sing Bad Boys, What You Gonna Do? It was a band from Jamaica. They were like a reggae band. I can't think of the name of the band. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Really good band, man. But anyhow, what happened in this story is I was staying in Midtown Manhattan, staying at the Plaza Hotel, which was a really nice hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Kind of an expensive hotel, too. But the thing about New York City is they got this thing to where they say black guys can't catch a cab. That may not be 100% true, but there's a lot of truth to it in my case because I'm outside the hotel trying to hail a cab so I can go up to Harlem to film this show. And cabs would not pull over to pick me up. I mean, I was out there for a minute, man. I'm trying to hail a cab. No cab drivers pulling over so I can get in the cab. So luckily the doorman that was there at the hotel said, "Hey man, I'll get you a cab." So he flagged the cab down. Cab pulled up. He opened the door and I got into the cab. Okay, so they took me up to Harlem, up to the Apollo Theater. And I filmed the Apollo Comedy Hour. It was, like I said, it was a much different show. They didn't heckle, and it was a good time. And after the show, I decided I would stay up in Harlem and hang out a little bit. So I went to this club, and they had like a blues band in there. And man, they was playing some blues, man. I don't know the name of the band. All I just know was they was good. It was a good damn band, man. They was playing some good ass music. And I hung out up there until, man, it was wee hours in the morning. Must have been, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning before I decided to leave. So I go back outside, man, up there in Harlem. And somebody had told me, he said, they got something called gypsy cabs, and they are a lot cheaper than catching a yellow cab. So what you ought to do is just catch one of them. He said they got like a special license plate on them. You wouldn't know them because their license plate don't look like the yellow cab's license plate. So, and most of them are owned and driven by black guys too. So I had walked over to where I saw some cabs parked at. And one of the guys came up to me and said, "Hey, man, you looking for a cab?" I go, "Yeah." He said, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going back down to Midtown Manhattan." He said, "Well, get in, I'll give you a ride." I said, "Well, how much do you charge?" He said, "Well, how much do you want to pay?" So I thought with my smart ass, I'll say the lowest number possible. I said, I don't know, I'll pay $4 or $5. And the dude looked at me, and I can only say this the way he said it for you to get the full effect. He looked at me, he said, "Get the fuck out of my cab." And the dude started me for a minute, man. And I said, "What?" He said, "You heard me. Get the fuck out of my cab." He said, "You think I'm going to take you all the way down to Manhattan for $3 or $4? I said, "Get your ass out of my cab, man." So I got out the cab. Man, the dude, like, he had me shook up, man. So at this point, I just want to get back to my room. So I said, I'm going to have to get me another cab, and I ain't going to play no games this time. So what I did was, because the dude that had me like kind of shook up, man, I felt like I should probably get a yellow cab, man, because for some reason in my mind, I just thought that was the right thing to do, or the safe thing to do. I wasn't thinking about the right thing. I was just thinking about the safe thing to do. So, because there were some yellow cabs hanging out around there. So I went up to one of the yellow cab drivers and I was like, hey man, I want to get down to Midtown Manhattan. And he said, well, sure, man, get in. So I got in, man. They don't ask you how much you think you should pay. They just put the meter on, man, and drive you back. So they drove me back down, man, to the hotel. I don't know. I think the cab fare might have cost me $12, $15 or something like that. But anyhow, so I got the cab, man, and I go into the hotel and I get on the elevator and I go up to my room. I put my key in the door and my key don't work. So I'm like, well, what the hell's going on? So I go down to the desk and I go, hey, my key don't work. I can't get in my room. They say, well, what room you in? So I tell them. So they say, well, we had to card your key or redo your key. In other words, my key wouldn't work. I couldn't open the door. And I said, well, what y'all do that for? He said, well, because you only paid for half a day and you owe us for the other half of the day because your time was up at 12 midnight. And I go, half of the day? I said, no, man, I got a room for 24 hours. He said, no, you only got a 12-hour stay. And I go, man, I don't even know. I ain't know no such thing as a 12-hour stay. But what had happened was the travel agent that booked me, they booked me in this room, man. And I knew the rate sounded kind of low because they got the rate for like $85. Well, that's for 12 hours, not for 24 hours. So if you want it for the whole 24 hours, then it'd be another $85. So I go, well, man, I'm sorry. I didn't know, man. I say, but I would like to get in my room, though. He said, well, if you want to get in your room, then you're going to have to pay. And this dude wasn't playing, man. They don't play. They ain't trying to be nice in New York. So I had my credit card, man. So I paid for the room. So he gave me a new key. And he's like, hold on. And I was like, what? He said, here's your luggage and your stuff that was in the room. So what they had did was they had took my stuff out of the room and put it behind the desk. Because like I said again, they don't play, man. So I got my stuff, man. I went back up to my room. Now it's like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I had a 7 o'clock in the morning flight. So I laid there, man, and was thinking about what it all had transpired. So I didn't get no sleep. And I ain't spent no time in that room. So that was another learning experience being in the Big Apple, man. They don't play, and you better understand what the hell you're doing when you get up there, or at least be with somebody that do. So that's it for that story, man. I'll see y'all next time on the next road story and adventures of the real John King out here going across the country trying to get it. Take care.